Hello, esteemed guests. Welcome to the floor of social sciences. Today we'll be discussing the entire history of the Aztecs as well as some fun facts at the end. So if you're possibly studying the Aztecs in school, you can refer to this video for some facts. Maybe you can even impress your history teacher. The year's 1450. Twin pyramids covered in red and blue paint rise 9 stories tall on an enormous platform in the center of the city of Tenochtitlan, the capital of the Aztec Empire. Zoos, botanical gardens, and markets buzz with people nearby. Farmers riding canoes tend to float in gardens growing maize, tomatoes, beans, and more. Nearly 300,000 people call this city home, making it one of the largest cities in the world at the time. Lasting about 200 years, the Aztec Empire was the last great civilization of Mesoamerica. Mesoamerica is the region from modern northwestern Mexico to the Central American country of El Salvador, before Europeans conquered the land. 500 years after the Aztec civilization fell, the ruins of Tenochtitlan lie beneath modern-day Mexico City. The history of the Aztec civilization. The people who would eventually create the Aztec Empire called themselves the Mexica. They believed that they came from the mythical land of Aztlan, which is why later historians call these people the Aztec. Around the year 1300, this nomadic group arrived in what's now central Mexico, traveling from perhaps as far away as modern-day Utah. The area was already well populated by other groups, so the Aztecs settled on uninhabited islands in Lake Texaco, establishing their capital city, Tenochtitlan, on an island in the year 1325. The Spanish later drained this lake. For the next 100 years, the Aztec lived under the region's ruling group, the Tepanec. The Aztec paid taxes to them and served as soldiers in their military, but this didn't last. In 1428, the Aztecs joined 2 other city-states to overthrow the Tepanec, and soon the Aztec took control of the alliance and became the region's ruler. Over the next 100 years, Aztec kings conquered territory until the empire spanned about 80,000 square miles from the Gulf of Mexico in the east to the Pacific Ocean in the west. Dividing the territory into states, the Aztec ruled over a total of about 6 million people. The local leaders of these states would govern without too much intervention from their Aztec rulers, but they had to pay tribute to the emperor back in Tenochtitlan. These tributes could be things like food, cotton textiles, feathers, and precious stones like turquoise. But tributes could also be human sacrifices to the gods. Sometimes women and children were taken and sacrificed, but most victims were warriors from these neighboring states who were taken in battle. These people were often sacrificed atop the Templo Mayor, meaning Great Temple, in Spanish, at the center of Tenochtitlan. By the end of the 1400s, their subjects were so unhappy with the tribute system and the brutal sacrifices that they started to rebel against the Aztec rule. And then, in 1519, Spanish explorers, led by Hernan Cortés, arrived. The Spanish first pretended to befriend King Moctezuma II, but then took him prisoner with the help of other local groups who no longer wanted to be ruled by the Aztec. The Spanish conquered Tenochtitlan in 1521, ending the Aztec Empire. However, many Aztec descendants still live in Mexico to this day. The life in the Aztec civilization. Tenochtitlan was on an island in a lake. So, the Aztec people figured out how to turn marshy land into floating farms called chinampanas, I believe that's how you pronounce it, which are still used today. First, they made square fences of intertwining branches in the swamps. As the water passes through the branches, mud and debris get caught on the fence to create a wall. Okay. People also grew plants like willow trees into the walls to further stabilize. They then filled the wall-filled-off squares with sediment until it rose above the water, appearing to float. Farmers tended to the chiponas on canoes in between each plot of farmland. The Aztec brought fresh water into the city with long stone channels called aqueducts, providing water for flower gardens, private homes, and city fountains. Young Aztec children were homeschooled, but as teenagers, both girls and boys attended school to learn about philosophy, nature, music, and the military. They also learned a trade. Women were expected to raise children and look after the home. Some women could also become doctors and educators. Most men were farmers, but some worked a craft like pottery, carpentry, or metalwork. All adult men had to serve in the Aztec military, and noble members of the Aztec society were honored as top warriors. But life was difficult for the conquered people living under Aztec rule. They were often forced to serve into the military, enslaved, or sacrificed to Aztec gods. The Aztec built temple pyramids throughout their empire. These structures were used for sacrificing, worshipping gods, and also might have been a resting place for emperors. They sometimes did this by building on top of the remains of the pyramids built by the Olmec. The Aztec believed in many gods, but most importantly, Lo Poquitlel, the god of war, and the sun, and Tlaloc, the god of rain. If I butchered those names, I'm sorry. These are some really hard words. Anyways, back to the history. The two pyramid shrines atop the Templo Mayor were dedicated to these gods. Why the Aztec civilization still matters. Today, archaeologists are still uncovering the secrets of the Aztec Empire beneath Mexico City. It wasn't until 1978 that utility workers stumbled upon the ruins of the Templo Mayor. When we speak, we echo many words that the Aztec used in their language. Nahalutl, chocolate, tomato, avocado, and chili come from these indigenous words. Many of the foods we enjoy today, like corn tortillas, hot chocolate, and popcorn, were also eaten by the Aztec. The Chimpanas farming technique, perfected by the Aztec, is still used in Mexico today. The Aztec Empire also created a legal system with judges, trials, and governing systems with different departments, similar to our modern-day federal government.
Best facts with warm-hearted woodsman, because yes, I decided to not give me his fucking lines, because he's just not fucking judge, but it's fucking... Aztec sun calendar monolith excavated in Zocalo main square of Mexico City. Mexico Aztec people used cocoa beans as money. The Aztec believed that the god sent them a sign, an eagle devouring a snake while standing on a cactus, the settle in the Tenochtitlan. The symbol is still used today in Mexico's flag. These people played Uluma Ziti, Uluma, Liz, Tilly, a game made with a 16-pound rubber ball, in which players had to pass the happy ball using only their torso. No hands or feet allowed. The Aztecs used two calendars, a 365-day calendar and a 260-day ritual cycle. The two calendars lined up every 52 years. The busiest markets in Tenochtitlan drew 50,000 people.